what is going on? Welcome to
the Heart Healthy Hustle Show.
This is another solo episode.
What are you getting after? What seeds are you planting? What are you overcoming? Think big. Think even bigger. Take some risks. God's got your back. Go for it. Don't hold back. Don't ever have regrets in your life. Go fail. Go grow from those things. Live your life.
Your identity is not defined by your successes or your failures.
If you're not happy where you're at, you won't be happy where you're going. Choose to do the things that will make you the person you want to be, that will make you a better person next week and next year.
You're going to have to leave some things you're actually good at behind so that you can find what you're wired for, what you're born for.
Being a world-class entrepreneur is being in every area of life excellent.
It is the little things that are so easy not to do.
The best thing that you can do is assume the best in people.
I want people around the world to believe they can do something great with their life.
If I build the biggest business, but I destroy my physical body and I lose my health, I don't think that's success. While you're on the journey climbing to success, never forget the things that matter most.
Coming to you not live, but almost live, whatever podcast platform you're listening to, from North Carolina, the Research Triangle, great area to be living. If you're a young professional and you live in the area, hit me up. As I continue to travel, as I continue to meet new people all across the country and from all over the world, it's exciting to connect people where I can. And I will be more than happy to set something up. Some big things in the pipeline for this podcast. Today's topic is something slightly touchy but needs to be talked about, and that is the area of relationships, but not just relationships, friendships in particular. I was listening to an incredible conversation, and I took a lot from it. They're two brothers, and they were having conversations with two older men who are in their 40s, maybe even 50s or 60s, who had remained friends for years on end. And they were asking them, you guys met when you were younger, how are you still friends, things like that. And there was a lot of takeaways from this, guys, a lot of takeaways, because if you're anything like me, over the last 2-3 years, I've put a lot of effort into building community, into recognizing the importance of doing things in community and together with others. You can get there faster and in more joy when you do it with friends, is my belief. Always looking to lift up my friends, always looking to find like-minded people, always looking to learn from people who aren't like-minded. I am somebody who is striving to become the best version of myself, and I believe that's formed through relationship. I don't think that's formed independently. And again, please don't mistake this. Don't get it twisted. That's me coming out saying this is kind of preaching at people or anything like that. These are helping me get my thoughts straight as I go through my journey, and it's a little bit of a different approach to a podcast. I understand that. In terms of, most people may do a podcast and think, I'm going to tell people what to do and what I've learned. I understand that there's flaws in things that I've learned, and there's things that I need to continue learning. Keep this episode short and sweet, but it is so powerful because a lot of us struggle. You may struggle with a lot of demands from life being put on you. One of the main reasons I wanted to talk about this, having a scarcity mindset around friendship is not good. And here's what I mean by that. Grow in your ability to manage distance and recognize when a relationship or friendship has run its course. For example, let's say your friends, your buddies in college, right? And then after college, you lose touch. They get married, you don't, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what the differences are, but just always recognize when a relationship has run its course. It is really good to consent to the reality that there are seasons to certain relationships. Consent to that reality. Don't fight that. Don't waste your pain. It is not fun. You may need to go through a short grieving process. The signs to know if a friendship has run its course, you're not able to relate to life situations. It's just good to not cause unnecessary pain and hurt. Be willing to cooperate with whatever season that friendship might be in. Always be asking, should I fight for this or should I let it go? If your gut is telling you that friendship is over, just let it go. A lot of friendships, that's what it is. It's what season is the relationship in? For example, having young kids, initial years of marriage, the honeymoon's over, you have a young career, you have a lot of demands. Seasons do part, so don't fight it. Just be willing to let go. Wish people the best, and vice versa. Hopefully that is reciprocated. Oh, this is a big key as well. Never look at somebody who you think could be a mission. So, for example, you might think, they have a lot of work to do, they have a lot of maturing to do. Maybe if I work on this, he could or she could become a friend, an ally in life. Name what it is, call it what it is. Don't speculate on what it could be. Find a kindred spirit. In your 20s, a lot of us are focused on exploration and discovery. You're free to do anything and be anything you want to be. And then life gets very real very quickly. Many men, this is when they get married. 20s, 30s. Others, it may be when they start to take their inner man very seriously, asking questions like, who am I? How did God create or form me uniquely? And when you're in that chapter, it can be very challenging to find friendships, but it can also become very enriching when you do find them. So don't give up, press on, don't accept limiting beliefs around that area. Keep pressing on. There are people out there thinking and asking the same questions as you. Recognize and embrace your limitations on bandwidth. So for me, what this looks like for me is it means I've got to embrace my limitations on my bandwidth. It means I might not be able to engage all people to the level that I'd like to, but it's because I am cultivating a yes to free up space for the ones closest to me. How you live with your inner circle is very different than the way you live with the 12 or 24 or 50 people network, and that's different from the 72 crowd and then the 100 people, etc. Be intentional about saying no to a lot of things to protect the closest 5 friendships most. And a lot of us struggle with that because we think, the more relationship and friendships we build, the faster we'll get to where we want to go. That's not always the case. Be very careful to protect the closest 5 friendships. If you refuse to accept limitations and try to maintain too many friendships, you'll burn out and you'll be spread too thin. So when people see you're a man that others want to be friends with, you're going to battle too many people trying to plug their cord into you because there's something exciting about the way you live your life. You must have resolve to invest mainly in the few. You must have resolve. If you're alone or lonely, ask, what is alone about? What season are you in? And embrace it. Don't always fight it or reject it. Maybe God is having you in that season of loneliness to work things out of your system that don't need to be there and don't belong there, quite frankly. God may use a season of being alone to shape you, strip you, and disentangle you from all your addictions, deriving value. And when I say addictions, I don't just mean vices of the flesh. I might mean, deriving value from being in charge of something, to being addicted to unhealthy appeals to the false self. Now we're going super deep. Self-awareness is so key. Self-acceptance and self-awareness are so key. And being alone is a gift. So recognize the gift that you're in, the season you're in as a gift. And honestly, if there are parts of that really hurt, you can take proactive action to get out of that. And it's not always easy. It's easier said than done, of course. But recognize the fact that there's a gift in being alone, and it lets you come face to face with the man in the mirror. Ask things like, what do I think of him or her? Who is that man or woman? And what is God really like? It's like, just agree with the season that God has you in and trust that it doesn't last forever. That is a lot to take in, but if that resonated with you, then you feel me on that. I would also recommend for the men out there, be mentored by good men. Find older men, enter a season of training, growth, mentorship. Be aware that you don't lose your joy. Keep doing adventures and enjoying your life. Don't go into autopilot. Always be seeking to understand what all this is about. Invest in peer relationships and adventure, and make intentional choices to invest in those relationships. I always like doing this, and last but not least, recognize that it takes time. As always, I hope you have a killer week. I appreciate you guys downloading this episode and listening to the completion of the episode. And as a gift to you, I want to give you a free audiobook. Go over to triplehaudiobook.com. That's HHH audiobook.com. Get yourself a free Audible audiobook. I appreciate your support for the podcast. And hey, how can I support you? Let me know. Send me an email or DM me on Instagram. Again, my email is jonathan@thehearthealthyhustle.com. Go ahead and re-listen to this episode. I know there's a lot to unpack, but I hope it helps somebody out there who really needs to hear this, because trust me, When I went through that just a few months ago, it unlocked some things for me. And now I can honestly say I've been blessed with some amazingly rich relationships and friendships. And I'm just so grateful, floored, and blessed, living in a lot more joy at last, going into seasons of harvest and still sowing, always will be sowing, but I'm definitely recognizing a harvest in some areas of my life, and I'm trying not to overlook them, and I'm trying to maintain those joyous seasons and accept them as they come. Live wide open and Godspeed.